Great Saturday morning, everyone. Great Saturday morning to you, valuable people, and welcome to the Mitch Race podcast. I am Mitch Race, and please let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'd really appreciate that. Just let me know where you're coming in from, whether or not you're catching this live or you are catching this on the replay. We should be coming across all platforms this morning, so I'm really kind of excited about that. And I believe that all things are going to go well as a result, and it's amazing seeing each and every one of you. And I want to thank you for the time that you spend with me each and every one of your Saturday mornings, especially this weekend, because it's Memorial Day weekend. And I know we've got a lot of servicemen out there who are still serving, and those that have given their lives for this country. And we owe them, you all, those of you who also you are family members to those service people. We owe you, and we're grateful, and I'm grateful. So I kind of want to spend just a few seconds just to acknowledge the veterans, those that are still serving, those that are still fighting to protect our freedom and our democracy. So we can just take maybe just 10 seconds or so to do that. I'd really appreciate it, and we can get on with the business, as they say, of getting it on. Good to see you all this morning. Wonderful. I want to thank you all for that, and I'm sure that veterans everywhere do appreciate this gesture, and thank you. So I'm Mitch Race. Welcome to the Mitch Race podcast again, and I help middle-aged to seasoned professional men who are distracted, unclear, and don't know their value gain clarity and vision so that they can become the best version of themselves while earning their desired high-level income to match their image. Today, we're going to look at 5 self-image, self-esteem disorders. So I hope this podcast is going to be a most informative one, as I'm really excited to share some things that I'm learning and growing in this area. So you might ask, why is this information about self-esteem disorders helpful? As this is Mental Health Awareness Month also, when we learn and share things that are affecting the mental health of our communities, it can help us all become more aware of people that may be suffering from some of the things that we've learned. And we can help others by becoming a resource that understands and helps point them in the right direction and be an ally in their lives, throw rocks at the enemies that seek to rob those who are suffering and deserve to pursue a great life. My platform is self-image and self-esteem, confidence, knowing your value. So these are very important things to me, and I know that they'll be very, very important and useful things to you in this community. So we're going to talk about and cover 5 self-image, self-esteem disorders, introducing them in personal, physical, social contexts. This is how they apply to a person. That is how they apply to a person, and how they apply to their physical well-being and their social lifestyles. And I have a ton of references to share with you because this was the research was great, but the people that are behind all of the research that I'm about to share with you are amazing, and I want to make sure that they're credited properly. And I'll also give you an offer to reach out to them later on in the podcast. So let's start with general anxiety disorder. And my reference here is from the National Institute of Mental Health. Occasional anxiety is a normal part of life. Many people may worry about things such as health, money, or family problems, but people with generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD, feel extremely worried or nervous more frequently about these and other things, even when there is little or no reason to worry about them. GAD, or generalized anxiety disorder, usually involves a persistent feeling of anxiety or dread that interferes with how you live your life. It is not the same as occasionally worrying about things or experiencing anxiety due to stressful life events. People living with GAD experience frequent anxiety for months, if not years. General anxiety disorder develops slowly. It often starts around age 30, although it can occur in childhood, and the disorder is more common in women than in men. People who struggle with generalized anxiety disorder often find themselves struggling with low self esteem. They may have poor confidence in themselves as they think they're worthless. This can be a harmful symptom of generalized anxiety disorder with long lasting implications. That source is actually from Very Well. And I just want to say, if you're getting value, please make sure that you put in the comments that you're getting value. If you can relate to what's going on, or you know someone who can relate to this, please put in relate. And anything else you'd like to comment on, I can't see them right now, but I just wanted to thank you for your comments, and just please put those in there because they are valuable, and you are valuable people. While people um, while people with generalized anxiety disorder are more likely to have low self-esteem, people with low self-esteem don't necessarily have generalized anxiety disorder. And this is from the source Modern Era Counseling. The difference between LSC, low self-esteem, anxiety, and GAD is that low self-esteem focuses on how we feel about ourselves, while GAD sufferers concentrate on how they feel toward themselves and how others view them. A change can improve low self-esteem in the physical environment and better self-care habits. At the same time, GAD sufferers may need medication and a treatment plan that a mental health professional supervises to help put their lives back on track. Low self-esteem may affect one area of their lives, while GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, affects every area of their lives. So if you can kind of put yourself in the place of someone who might have general anxiety disorder, this is something they've been suffering with for a long time, for years. It could have started in their younger years. It could have started in childhood, and and yet here they find themselves in life with this, and it affects their self-esteem because it does focus again on how we see ourselves, but how this anxiety particularly works is that it's pervasive, it's consistent, it's ongoing. So it's a vicious cycle. The next thing I want to talk about is going to be body dysmorphic disorder. And this is from the mayoclinic.org. Body dysmorphic disorder is a mental health condition in which you just can't stop thinking about one or more perceived defects or flaws in your appearance, a flaw that appears minor or can't be seen by others, but you may feel so embarrassed, ashamed, and anxious that you may avoid many social situations. When you have body dysmorphic disorder, you intensely focus on your appearance and body image, repeatedly checking the mirror, grooming, or seeking assurance, sometimes for many hours each day. Your perceived flaw and the repetitive behaviors cause you significant distress and impact your ability to function in your daily life. You may seek out numerous cosmetic procedures to try to fix your perceived flaw. Afterward, you may feel temporary satisfaction or reduction in your distress, but often the anxiety returns, and you may resume searching for other ways to fix your perceived flaw. Treatment of body dysmorphic disorder may include cognitive, behavioral therapy, and medication. Shame and embarrassment about your appearance may keep you from seeking treatment for body dysmorphic disorder. But if you have any signs or symptoms, see your healthcare provider or a mental health professional. Complications that may be caused by an association with body dysmorphic disorder include, for example, and these are just a few, given the context, I felt really compelled to mention the first five: low self-esteem, social isolation, major depression or other mood disorders, suicidal thoughts or behavior. So people are really at risk. Their lives are at risk with this disorder. Anxiety disorders, including social anxiety disorder, or what they call social phobia. The next one I'm sure that you may have heard of, anorexia nervosa. WebMD is my source. Anorexia nervosa, also called anorexia, is a potentially life-threatening eating disorder that can affect people of all ages, genders, ethnic or racial groups, and body sizes and weights. So it does not discriminate. People with anorexia may have trouble maintaining a healthy weight for their body frame, height, and age. This disorder can lead to a distorted body image and serious health consequences. The term anorexia means loss of appetite, but this definition is misleading. People with anorexia nervosa do get hungry, but starve themselves on purpose. If you have anorexia, you may have an intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat. You may have a false sense of body image or think your self-worth depends on your body size. As a result, you may try to correct this perceived flaw by strictly limiting your food intake and exercising too much to lose weight. But extreme weight loss can lead to dangerous health problems and even death. About 9% of people in the US have an eating disorder or will have an eating disorder at some point in their lives. But not everyone who has anorexia is underweight. One study found that less than 6% of people with eating disorders were underweight. In recent years, experts have called on medical professionals to recognize that people with larger bodies can have anorexia too. So this morning, I'm really attempting to give you the interesting things that I've seen and that I'm learning about these disorders. And some of these I'm hearing about for the first time, and some of them I'm not. And I'm sure that that this is going to be great value to you and this community that are suffering from self-esteem and self-image problems. So I want to thank you for tuning in once again. And I want to say, if you're getting value, please put the value in. Please let us know. The next one I want to talk about is avoidant personality disorder. This is the Cleveland Clinic, which has been around for about 100 years. So this is a really trusted source. And I was just excited and just blown away by the amount of information that is out here on these things. So I'm going to encourage you to seek this out. Avoidant personality disorder. Avoidant personality disorder is marked by poor self-esteem and an intense fear of rejection. People with this condition often avoid social situations to avoid having these feelings. Avoidant personality disorder is treatable with psychotherapy, which is talk therapy. Psychotherapy is talk therapy. Avoidant personality disorder is a mental health condition that involves chronic feelings of inadequacy and extreme sensitivity to criticism. People with AVPD would like to interact with others, but they tend to avoid social interactions due to their intense fear of rejection. Avoidant personality disorder is one of a group of conditions called cluster C personality disorders. They involve anxiety and fear. Personality disorders are lasting patterns of behavior that are out of touch with cultural norms, how we're expected to act, and develop in childhood or adolescence that cause distress for the person with the condition and for those around them, or those around them. You probably heard or have some knowledge of social anxiety, and you might be asking, what's the difference between avoidant personality disorder and social anxiety? From what I understand, avoidant personality disorder and social anxiety disorder share similar features and behaviors, but they're distinct conditions. Social anxiety disorder, social phobia, happens when you have an intense and ongoing fear of being judged and watched by others. This leads people with social anxiety disorder to avoid social situations. Work, church, home, schools, they don't want to go out. They try to avoid being with people. They're a party wallflower. They won't dance. They won't talk. They might even avoid making eye contact. People with avoidant personality disorder also avoid social situations and relationships, but it has more to do with their low self-esteem than it does with anxiety. Anxiety is the core feature behind social anxiety disorder, but it doesn't have to be present with avoidant personality disorder. So what are the symptoms of avoidant personality disorder. And I found these to be interesting in the context of self-image. The main sign of avoidant personality disorder is having such a strong fear of rejection that you choose isolation over being around people. This pattern of behavior can vary from mild to extreme. Other signs of behaviors of avoidant personality disorder include having a poor self-image, seeing themselves as inadequate and inferior, being overly concerned about criticism or approval. They may be reluctant to become involved with others unless they know for sure that others will like them. So this sounds like people pleasing. They may be reluctant to become involved with others unless you're sure others will like them. And I've been there. And I've seen this with other people. So, and I'm sure this is behavior that you probably have seen with other people as well. They go out of their way to make sure that they're seen, that they're heard, that they're acknowledged, that they're loved in some kind of way. Experiencing extreme anxiety, nervousness, and fear in social settings and relationships. This may lead them to avoid activities or jobs that involve being with others. So this is a really lonely pattern that this can take. And the direction that this goes in is not a good direction, especially when we know what it's like to feel great, to be around people, to want to be around people. And can you imagine having this kind of disorder and just not being sure or just not wanting to and not knowing why? This is why this conversation is very important. And this is also why community becomes so vital to those with self-esteem and self-image issues, because those issues can worsen and become huge mental health concerns. This is one that I know you've heard of, but let's talk about it a little bit and chop it up. Narcissism. And we're going to talk a little bit from healthy to pathological. And my source from here is from McLeanHospital.org. Narcissism refers to feelings and attitudes towards one's own self. It is the core of self-esteem and emotions, which influence the way one perceives and relates to others. Normal narcissism involves a healthy, positive sense of self-worth and self-regard with self-acceptance, curiosity, and compassion, including pride and enjoyment. Although narcissistic personality style can lead to provocative and challenging interpersonal interactions in private, social, or professional contexts, it's not usually an indication of personality pathology or a psychiatric disorder. And it was important to make that distinction because I think that people do think that, oh, well, if you're a narcissist, that there's something really wrong with you, you're crazy. So to make these distinctions and do the research and find out this information is something that that I was really excited to learn and to know about it because we've had these stereotypes about narcissistic personalities and narcissism. So it is more related to steadfast self-determination, interpersonal ignorance, and arrogance, intolerance of obstacles, and excessive self-preoccupation and self-promotion in certain situations or contexts. Pathological narcissism differs from normal, healthy, or exaggerated narcissism foremost because of fluctuating or dysregulated self-esteem and emotions. So this brings us to narcissistic personality disorder. NPD has so far not been associated with psychiatric or societal urgency or notable public or mental health costs. Nevertheless, narcissistic personality disorder has still met increased recognition as an urgent and complicated mental condition, primarily linked to excessive conflicts in close relationships, marriages, and families, or in work-related social or legal contexts. NPD can also co-occur with other mental conditions that may either escalate symptoms related to pathological narcissism or conceal striking NPD characteristics, such as bipolar disorder, substance use disorder, or major depressive disorder. Individuals with pathological narcissism or NPD, individuals struggling with pathological narcissism or struggling with this can come across quite differently. There is no real standard prototype. Some individuals are professionally successful, consistently high functioning, and socially well connected, only showing reactivity, distancing, and avoidance in certain contexts. So, to kind of wrap this up a bit, you can see that there are a number of disorders, and there's a lot of information about these disorders in the sources that I've shared with you. And I've learned a whole lot about these things. And I'm just excited to be able to have a platform to be able to come to you and support and share these ideas and things that are going on in a community that we normally don't really think about in terms of the mental health community, in terms of and even the social image community, just in terms of disorders. But yet here they are. So to kind of wrap things up little bit, and I hope you got really great value with these things. Wrap these up a little bit with these issues. If I can have you walk away with one or two things, they would be: now that you have some information about self-image and self-esteem disorders, take a pulse. Yours first. How are you really doing? How are you really doing out here? And take another pulse. As you step out into your community or communities, ask someone else, how are they really doing? If you need information or links on any of the resources I mentioned, please feel free to direct message me. If you'd like more information on how I can help you or someone else you know with building their self-esteem and gaining some clarity and direction, you can also DM me on that too. I'll get back to you and we'll set up an appointment. We'll set something up. I want to thank you so very, very much for taking your time out this Saturday. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to reframe your vision, reframe your value, and reframe your victory. I am Mitch Race, and this has been the Mitch Race Podcast. Have a really wonderful Saturday and stay amazing, everybody. Thank you.